friends, I read 179 books in 2020 and for the most part I really enjoyed them. However, only 15 of these books earned 5 stars from me. So these are the 15 best books I read in 2020, presented in the order that I read them. Number 1, Sorted: Growing Up, Coming Out, and Finding My Place by Jackson Bird. This memoir is from trans activist Jackson Bird. I found his writing to be patient and welcoming. He takes the time to explain terminology to those less familiar with trans issues, and also takes the time to recommend more resources, ensuring that someone's education on LGBT+ issues doesn't end with this book. He created an accessible point to welcome people in as they get started in their activism by sharing his life story, and I appreciate that. Number 2, Lumberjanes, Volume 8, Stone Cold by Shannon Waters, Kat Lay, and Carrie Peach. I read plenty of other Lumberjanes books this year, but this was the only one that I feel earned 5 stars. I really like to see the campers return to their roots as the story turned back to Greek mythology, as a way of showing just how much the girls have grown since their first encounters with the supernatural. Number 3, Sadie by Courtney Summers. This story has 2 points of view, the first being Sadie, a missing girl who is searching for her sister's murderer. Our second narrator is Wes McCrae, who we only hear from through the podcast episodes he created in order to help track Sadie down and bring her safely home. I appreciated this book. I don't really read thrillers, so it was surprising for me to enjoy this book. I think that's because the book asks the question about why people enjoy true crime podcasts and stories, and if we as a society actually care about so many of these terrible things that keep happening. Because if we really cared about these stories outside of their entertainment value, wouldn't we have stopped them from happening? Number 4, So You Want to Talk About Race by Ajimo Oluo. This is a really accessible guide to really having these conversations surrounding race. It is personal and anecdotal at times, but in a way that connects our knowledge and statistics about these systemic issues to lived experiences. It prepares us to have these conversations in the hopes that these conversations will make our society better and bring about change. Number 5, The Woman Who Smashed Codes, A True Story of Love, Spies, and the Unlikely Heroine Who Outwitted America's Enemies by Jason Fagone. This is a biography of one of the amazing and often forgotten women in history, Elizabeth Smith. She has a long list of accomplishments, from code breaking during World War I, catching gangsters during Prohibition, uncovering a Nazi spy ring in South America, and cracking multiple versions of the Enigma machine during World War II. She was an amazing woman who is often excluded from our history books or is treated as a footnote to her husband, William Friedman, who founded the NSA. Number 6, The Hand on the Wall by Maureen Johnson. This is the 3rd book in the Truly Devious series, so I can't say too much about the book because spoilers. But the premise of the series is that a teenage true crime enthusiast begins at a boarding school where a famous unsolved mystery took place 100 years ago. And the closer she gets to solving the case, the more dangerous her life gets in the present day. Number 7, Good and Mad, The Revolutionary Power of Women's Anger by Rebecca Traister. Traister argues that the recent outburst in women's activism over the past few years is part of a familiar pattern, and that women's anger has been a political catalyst for ages, which is one reason that women's anger and emotions are often condemned and dismissed within our society. It was incredibly interesting. Number 8, Washington, A Life by Ron Chernow. This is just a really detailed biography on George Washington. It did a lot to humanize him, so that Washington's a person and not just a caricature of who he once was that we just all learned about as kids. I think it takes a lot to tell a story of a well-known figure and still make their life seem interesting and complex and give the reader new information in an engaging way. Ron Chernow does this very well. Number 9, Felix Ever After by Kaysen Callender. This is my absolute favorite book of the year. It follows a trans boy who is attending an art school and is trying to get a scholarship to university. As that is happening, he is encountering some anti-trans bullying and hate at school when someone posts pre-transition photos of him with his dead name in the school building. He begins to anonymously contact one of the main suspects and also starts to romantically like the main suspect. He's trying to figure out who did this to him and why, while still trying to accomplish his goals, figure out who he is, and secure his future. Number 10, Catch and Kill, Lies, Spies, and a Conspiracy to Protect Predators by Ronan Farrow. This is a memoir about Ronan Farrow's time investigating Harvey Weinstein and the barriers that went up to prevent this story from being told. Ronan Farrow's work Exposing sexual predators has drastically altered our conversations around this important issue. The fact that there were people trying to stop him from telling the truth isn't surprising, but it is painful to learn about. Number 11, Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo. This book is about two girls, one growing up in New York City and one growing up in Haiti. After a plane crash kills their father, they find out that they have a sister and that their father had this double life. And in this story, wrapped in grief and pain, they find each other and in a lot of ways are able to rescue each other when they unite. Number 12, The Henna Wars by Adiba Jaigirdar. This book is set in Ireland and follows Nishat, who comes out to her parents as a lesbian. And her parents reject that because they don't think Muslim girls can be lesbians. That's some white girl shit. At the same time, Nishat is developing a crush on her childhood friend Flavia, who recently moved back to town. But when a school business competition starts and Nishat and Flavia each start their own henna business, the competition heats up quickly, especially as Nishat sees Flavia running a henna business as a form of cultural appropriation. She feels like everyone in her life has let her down, so she works really hard to show what she is capable of all on her own and built a good henna business despite encountering sabotage along the way. Number 13, A Beautifully Foolish Endeavor by Hank Green. This is the sequel to An Absolutely Remarkable Thing. The story begins about a year after the end of the first book and is narrated by April May's friends as they deal with the ever-changing world since the Carls first appeared. That might not totally make sense, but this is a wonderful work of science fiction, and I feel like if I tell you too much about the book, I would be detracting from the experience of the book. Number 14, Cat's Cafe, a comics collection by Matt Tarpley. This is an absolutely adorable collection. The story is mainly set in a small coffee shop that is owned by a cat, and it is a soft and calm story about the importance of taking care of your mental health and having friends who will support you as you grow. It is soft, cute, and cozy. I love it. Number 15, Cemetery Boys by Aidan Thomas. This is a story about Yadriel, who comes from a family of brew hexes. Men in his family can summon the spirits of the dead and help them move on to the next life, and the women in his family have the power to heal. Every member of his family receives their full powers at their Kinsey ritual, but Yadriel is 16 and his family keeps delaying his Kinsey because he is trans, so they don't think he will ever be able to be a brujo. So at the beginning of this book, his cousin Maritza helps to perform the ritual himself, and they try to find the ghost of their recently murdered cousin so they can set him free and solve the mystery. But Yadriel accidentally summons Julian Diaz, the school's bad boy, who refuses to pass on to the afterlife until he can find out exactly what happened to him. It's an excellent book, and it's all set around Dia de los Muertos, so as much as I think everyone should read this book immediately, maybe also wait until the fall so you can enjoy it with the holiday. Those are the 15 best books I read in 2020, and let me know down in the comments your favorite book of the year, or let me know your opinion on any of the books I talked about in this video. And if you want to see more, please subscribe, watch another video of mine, or support me on Patreon. And hey, I love you.